Homosexuality has existed from the earliest ages in human society, and for the most part, people in this community have been forced or chosen to live a life of silence or unseen in the shadows. Prejudice and persecution for homosexuals have been a commonplace, and in not that distant past, death was a regular practice for those considered sinners of the worst kind.
They want to bring their sin out of the closet.
In some societies across the globe today, living like a homosexual is still considered a crime. Through many tragic times, the lawmakers across the land have slowly gained a perspective on this lifestyle and have granted more and more respect for this once hated segment of society. The LGBT community has developed and shown the world that no matter who you are or who you like, you are still human. But where did it all come from? It came from countless brave risk takers who quietly or loudly shifted the perspective of anti-gay minorities. Harvey Milk was one of these individuals, the first elected political leader to any public position in the United States. He left a positive imprint in the minds of both straight and gay Americans. Although leaving this world too early at the hand of a bullet, he both quietly and loudly made sure that gay, lesbian, and transgender individuals would have the freedom that they deserve. But let's go back to his younger years. He was born on May 22, 1930 to his parents William Milk and Minerva Kansas Milk. He was born into a Jewish household along with his brother Robert Milk. They all lived in the New York suburban of Woodmere. In Bayshore High School, he attended school and partook in playing football and being interested in his school's opera. By this point, he was a teenager, and he discovered something about himself. He discovered that he was a homosexual. At this point in American history, it was best to keep things like this quiet. He decided not to tell anyone, not even his parents. After a few years after graduating, Harvey Milk decided to move to California along with his good friend. After he moved, he and his good friend got a camera store. He had been running the store when the news said that there was going to be a new seat for the Board of Supervisors. He decided to run for Board of Supervisors. It would take him at least 2 years to get into office. He successfully campaigned and was elected for Board of Supervisors for San Francisco in 1977. When they announced that Harvey Milk would be elected for the Board of Supervisors, it was a victory for all the people who thought they would never have a voice in the world. But now, thanks to Harvey Milk getting elected, they all were assured that that would get the right they deserved.
Standing to my right, the first gay supervisor elected in San Francisco. His name is Harvey Milk. First of all, congratulations, and I've never seen anything like this, Harvey.
Oh, it's all over the city tonight.
You're a supervisor for all the people.
I have to be. That's what I was elected for. I have to be there to open up for the dialogue, for the sensitivities of all people, and for all the problems. The problems that affect this city affect all of us.
Harvey Milk, now in office, had some goals that he wanted to implement into the many neighborhoods of the city itself. He wanted the LGBTQ community to be celebrated with parades and also to get gay people the same rights as any non-gay person. But like with any change, some groups stood against it, and in this case, it would take a loud and emotional, charged group of city residents who felt homosexuals should not have the public audience and presence that they did.
We cannot prevent child molestation, so let's cut our odds down and take out the homosexual group.
Harvey Milk would not let this get in his way of what he promised the community. But also during this time, Harvey Milk would get awful hate mail of people giving him death threats and making him feel like he was not worthy of the position that he was in.
We got lots of hate mail. And it started out that the hate mail really upset me. Again, I just was not prepared for that at all. I mean, people saying awful, awful things. Just nasty, disgusting things. And it was Gay Freedom Day, and I was driving the car in the parade and Harvey was in it. I was terrified. I was afraid someone was going to take a shot at him. And Harvey said it could happen any day, at any place, at any time. And I'm just not going to worry about it.
Dan White was another employee of the Board of Supervisors, and although he wasn't an outspoken critic of Milk's desire to provide greater rights and a voice for the homosexual community, he certainly was not in favor of what Milk was trying it to promote. But White's voice was a minority in the open-minded liberal city with an open-minded liberal San Francisco Board of Supervisors, and this angered Dan White tremendously.
What did you see that you thought was obscene?
Well, I see naked men walking around, naked women walking around. We wouldn't allow it for any other parade in San Francisco, and it should not be allowed for the gay parade.
Harvey Milk had been in office for 1 year at this point, and everything was going well with the changes that he was attempting to bring to the table in each of the different departments of the city's government. And Dan White was not in full agreement with anything. On November 26, 1978, Dan White snapped because Mayor Moscone had fired him, and he was angered and wanted to take revenge on the two people who had messed with him, Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk. When Dan White went into the building where the mayor and Milk were in, he carried a loaded gun and went to talk with Harvey Milk and...
Good evening to outsiders and even to some San Franciscans. It must appear the city has gone a little insane. Just as everyone is beginning to come to grips with the mindless murder-suicide of over 900 members of the San Francisco-based People's Temple, word screams out over the radio, the television, the newspapers that another tragedy is upon us.
Harvey Milk died with honor at the age of 48, his life being ripped away because of anger. This catastrophe struck fast, and everyone was devastated at the fact that their only hope for equal rights was now lost to a bullet. All of the work that they had worked hard now been all lost, and the gay community would never get the rights that they deserve.
It's my duty to make this announcement. Both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed. The suspect is Supervisor Dan White.
However, in the end, this would be proven to not be true. Milk's legacy would actually be felt across our nation, and today he wouldn't even recognize our nation's mood towards homosexuality.
A lot of breaking news here this morning. The breaking story just moments ago, the Supreme Court and this landmark ruling, the court making same-sex marriage legal in this country across every state in this nation.
Even though he was unable to see the changes he wanted for the community because of his assassination, he sparked the fire that would later get the LGBTQ community the rights that they deserved. Harvey Milk was that person that showed the world that there will always be hope and that everyone is human. Milk made important contributions to America as a whole nation and to the city of San Francisco, especially two of his major gifts in the nation were he helped to pass community's first local gay rights rule that eventually led to the LGBTQ rights revolution that much later pushed same-sex marriage and more LGBTQ protections in cities and states across the country. Milk also inspired LGBTQ Americans to enter politics, record breaking rainbow waves of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans following in his footsteps and running for office and winning.